Are you ready to say yes to you? Now, you may have seen some of my videos and you've heard me talk a lot about saying yes to you, not living your life bland or beneath, but living life bold. You've heard me talk about, owning your peace and commanding your worth. So I thought I would take a moment to interview myself, to ask myself some of the questions that I would ask someone else if I was interviewing them. And typically, the first question is, when you hear the phrase saying yes to you, what does it mean to you? So for me, when I hear that phrase, what it says to me is that I used to think about life, and I would think about, the question we often ask ourselves, is this life? Is it all there is to life? It's got to be more than this to our lives. I began to think about how much time I was spending pleasing everybody else and not taking any time for myself. I was beginning to think about, how again, I'm putting everybody before me. I began to think about how I would shrink down and shrink back and not be open to showing my true self for fear of whether or not I was going to be accepted or whether people were going to be open to receive and to hear what I had to say. So when I hear the phrase saying yes to you, what it means to me is that being open and willing to take time to invest in you, to take time to begin to invest in things that's going to better you from the inside out. And how that began to work with me is I began to take classes, I began to do things that would open me up to learn about various areas in my life. I went through a coaching program. I also have a coach. I continue to try to learn and grow and develop myself personally. And one of the ways that helped me do that was to first become self aware, being open and willing to look at myself and to look at where I am and where I want to be. And also begin to recognize that my life is sort of like a pie. And there are various areas in my life that I had to look at where I am and where I want to be. And some of those areas were when it came to my emotional well being, when it came to my spirituality, when it came to my finances, when it came to my relationships with my family, as well as my relationship with peers and friends. Also, when it came to my health, when it came to my physical well being. These are some of the areas that I had to begin to look at and determine where I am and where I want to be. And once I begin to do that, I begin to recognize or begin to write down and set goals to help me accomplish where I was desiring to be in those various areas of my life. I also recognized that it was beneficial to have a coach to even help me get clarity in all those various areas. I also recognized that it was just so important for me to be able to have someone that also would hold me accountable so that I can ensure that I would do the things that I said I wanted to do to get to where I want to be. Also, I recognized that it was like really important for me to apply self-care to my life. It was so important that I took care of myself in all those various areas of my life because one impacts the other. If I'm not feeling well emotionally and I'm not functioning well emotionally, it's going to impact how I receive things spiritually. It's going to impact how I deal with spirituality. It's going to impact my relationships. It's going to impact how I'm spending my money. It's going to impact my health. So it kind of covers, every area of our life. So you can see where they're all sort of interconnected. So I had to begin to look at that and begin again to set goals to again help me get from where I am. You're going to hear me say that a lot to where I want to be. And again, I also recognized that I had to give myself grace. I had to give myself grace for the times when I missed the mark. I had to give myself grace because there were times when I failed. Things that I set out to do, I didn't accomplish them. But what I learned is that when I failed, that there was lessons. So really, I learned that it really wasn't like I really failed because I learned some things about me. I learned some things about that situation that I failed in. I learned some things about God. I learned some things about people. So it changed my whole perspective when it came to failure. And I also recognized that, when I failed, it helped me as I began to progress and begin to grow and develop into the things and into the person that I was desiring to become. I also learned the value of living in the moment. Yes, I had those goals, but I didn't want to focus too far ahead with those goals, that I would take time and celebrate where I am, appreciate where I am, thankful for where I am, and also to be thankful for where I came from. Because where I came from helped me to be the person that I am today. The good things, the bad things, the things I did well, the things that I didn't do well, all of them helped and was part of making me the person that I am today. I also learned the value of community, the value of who you're connected with, the value of the things that I was taking in, the value of the things that I was looking at, and also the value of what I was speaking out of my mouth. I learned all those things were extremely important. So saying yes to me means that I'm willing to be open to do and to be and to have the things that will help me live my life to the full. I was open and willing to go on that journey to help me show up my best self in every area of my life. Now, have I arrived? Absolutely not. But am I where I was last year this time? Absolutely not. So I am grateful for the growth and the changes that have taken place in my life. And you might be saying, well, why are you saying all this to me? And the reason why I'm sharing this is because I want you to know, just as it's happening for me, it can happen for you. I hope it opens you up to begin to think about your life, where you are right now and where you desire to be. And begin to think about what do I have to do to get from, again, where I am right now to where I want to be. And begin to seek out coaches, mentors, advisors, people that can help and equip you. Begin to become a part of communities that are like minded and that are people who are thinking just like you and desiring to move and develop themselves just like you. So all of these things are very important, and that's when I hear the phrase "saying yes to me," that's what it means to me, to be willing again to move from where I am to where I want to be, so that I can live life and live it to the full. I'm not sure if I mentioned that scripture, but one of the things that started me out was John 10:10, which says, "Christ came that we have life and that we have it more abundantly." And I heard that scripture at a young age as I was growing up. And it's always stayed with me. Christ, you promised me. You said this is what you wanted me to have. You wanted me to have life and you wanted me to have it more abundantly. So I've always been on that journey to begin to have life and to have it more abundantly in all areas of my life. And you hear people say, well, when I'm living bland or I'm living beneath, there might be some periods in our life and there were some in mine where that was the case. But what I've also learned is it doesn't matter what season you're in, you're never losing. You're never losing. You're winning in every season. Why do I say that? It's because we're learning something in every season. We're learning when it's spring, when it's summer, when it's winter, when it's fall in our lives. We're learning something. We're learning something about us. We're learning something about people, and we're learning something about God. So no matter what season you're in, you're always winning. And I learned that it helps you when you move into the next season. So I hope this helped you. I hope it gives you opportunity to think about your life and begin to think, no, yes, there's more to life than where you are. There's so much more in you that you haven't even begun to tap in. You're capable of doing more than you can ever imagine. It helps again to begin to take that assessment and look at yourself. Okay, where am I at in my life? And where do I want to be? What do I need to do to get to where I want to be? Maybe having a coach may help. Maybe, an advisor may help. Maybe counseling may help. Maybe all three may help. But I trust and I hope that you begin to think about it so that you can begin to live your life to the full. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time when I answer that next question. Take care.